You're listening to the OverFunctioning Leadership Podcast, Brumble, leaving you with a fun Fifth Tuesday's food for thought. Well, hello, I'm Zac.
And I'm Alex.
And this is our first Brumble.
Brumble, you say, sir. Is this like a bread crumble, or what are we talking about here?
We're talking about rambles, but that's better than rambles. It's like when your brain's rumbling and you just got to get something out.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Go many different directions with that, like almost like your brain has a fart.
Yeah, it's like a brain fart, but like of a more pontificating nature.
Oh, gotcha. So like it's going to be worth something.
Hopefully. That's kind of the goal here.
All right. Good. Okay. So, Zac, what is this first Brumble about?
Well, I think the first and main thing we're going to talk about for our Brumble is why the Fudgesicles do we have an elephant as our logo?
Yeah.
I've always wondered that.
And I've at least heard from two other people who asked me the exact same question. Now that those two people just so happen to be you and John... But there may have been, maybe
well, you know
one
how
other.
we've also been trying to get someone else to make the logo other than some rando we found on Fiverr.com, right? So when we found out that they used clip art when they Googled the word elephant, we realized that our $5 wasn't worth all that much.
Yeah, it's $6. In fact, if you would love to, maybe make our logo for us, we need somebody out there.
We're looking. We are looking.
Somebody who has some graphic art designs, and, pretty whimsical person, something like that.
We love whimsy. Whimsy is cute.
Thus, this entire Brumble, yes.
And so, I don't know about you, Alex, but the first threshold I use when someone we're talking to is being invited, because we invite them to make our logo, I look for, the main qualification I look for is if they ask why an elephant. That was our mistake with the Fiverr. They didn't ask why, they just did it, right?
Yes.
All the people I've asked that I feel like are worth their medal have asked, why an elephant? I don't see how this fits with your scheme. Why do you want to be marketed by an elephant?
So are you asking me why an elephant?
I think so.
Okay.
It started with you, right?
It did start with me. So, so when I started thinking about different logos, first off, I didn't know we had to have a logo. And then, when I decided that we need to have a logo, it was like, what do I want this to look like? So a lot of leadership podcasts that are already out there have a picture of some dude's face on it or some woman's face on it with such and such Mary...
Tinkerbell.
I was going to say Mary J. Blige, but I'm not sure she would have a
Who is
leadership.
that?
Anyway, she's a singer or something. Anyways, so it has their name and then their face, and they're smiling, usually with some glasses on or
Correct
something.
me if I'm wrong, but usually when I see leadership stuff out there, it's a balding man. Usually post-middle age.
Yes, and
kind of like John, but less attractive.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Even if it's a woman, there's a bald cap involved somehow. I'm not sure. Because it's almost like the less hair that you see, the more leadership wisdom they have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's somehow mathematically correct.
But it's not like a Tobias Fumke archetype, right? They're not trying to look like Tobias.
Yeah, they're not changing from being a psychologist into
not bluing themselves.
a therapist into an actor or anything like that. But regardless,
an analyst and a therapist.
Yes, we're not going to go there anymore. But that's why, and really, that's why we have John as a part of our podcast.
He has the visual credentials.
Yes, he has the baldness going for us. So that's really nice. So back to the original question of why the elephant. So I wanted something that would be inviting to people. And so what's more inviting than animals, right? So, when we talk about defining self and leaching self from different things, a lot of us, we have pets perchance, and we like to grab some sort of self from them. So when they're super happy, we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to, borrow self from you, and now I'm going to be happy. So animals seem to be more inviting than people. Zac, you were a model, but
I'm not that attractive. I don't have tusks. I don't swim in watering wells like animals.
Yeah.
I just don't even shower usually.
Yeah, and there's some sort of persona that's connected to people that people just don't like other people, but they like animals.
I hate people. People are the worst.
Yeah. So anyways, why are you here?
John.
Okay. But that doesn't answer the question why you hate people. Why are you here?
Next.
Okay. So so then we're going into animals, right? So I started thinking about different animals that would be good to represent leadership. My initial inkling was going to lions. Well, the problem with lions is that the males are pretty much in charge there, and there's female herds, but the males just go around. They're kind of rogues, and they're just there for. I mean, every animal's there. I'm a biologist, so you can believe everything I say.
A master's degree, right?
That's right. Yes, I have a master's. So, but animals, including organisms such as humans, want to do one of two things: one, survive; two, reproduce. And specifically with lions, they're more involved the males are, as the leaders, more involved in the reproducing stage. I mean, they survive as well, but it's just not a very good leadership.
They're there for that good.
Yes,
as
that's
the PG-13
yes.
say.
Yeah, so, and I'm sorry, that didn't really answer your question. So lions are out. So then...
They kind of overfunction, too. They sunbathe for a large portion of the day, as far as I understand, except for when they're hunting, where they go 110%.
Yes, pretty much.
I once had a workout routine where it was based off of, it was called high-intensity training, and it was based off of lions because they do full-body workouts or something.
What? Okay, we are diverting
way
greatly.
Off track. We are rumbling.
In fact, John would be very upset to know that we haven't answered this question yet, and we're 7 minutes in. So,
oh no!
Actually, one time I talked to John, and I started explaining what animals weren't, why we weren't having any other animals. And he stopped me. He's like, "I just want to know about the elephants."
There's one question I asked you, and you haven't answered it. Why the elephant?
So let's go to the elephants. I apologize.
We're sorry, John.
I just like to give the whole scheme. So when I was in Kenya, what was that? A couple years ago, we went to this place where they had a whole bunch of different herds of elephants. Now, elephant herds are groups of females, and the males themselves kind of roam around, and they're very much like male lions, and they're just there for reproducing and being angry, and so they're just angsty reproducing males. Anyways, but they aren't identified as the leaders of the herds, unlike male lions. So the leaders of the herds when it comes to elephants are the females. So they're matriarchal. So they're matriarchal, and what they told us there is that that all the herds have their own personalities, and the ones that have better personalities are the ones that are you can tell.
What do you mean by better? They survive longer?
They survive longer, and they're more approachable. The humans can approach them better.
Oh.
And they're friendlier, and usually they even said words they're fun. They're more fun. They're more playful. Some would say whimsical. And
Love whimsy.
And so then I just started thinking about, okay, so these elephants, it just came down to basically, since a matriarchal, it depended upon whoever was in charge. Whatever female was in charge of that herd, the whole herd went that way. So, if you have a pack of a herd of 10 elephants, if the matriarchal leader of that was not anxious, whimsical, playful, but also led with conviction, that herd was much more approachable.
How does an elephant have conviction?
So when it comes to, that's a great question. But as far as smarts when it comes to different animals, we know that elephants have a forebrain, and so they have decision making, and that's why they're more approachable and lovable, as opposed to, and no offense to people who have snakes or reptiles, they do not have forebrains, so that's why they don't want to cuddle up with you. I mean, other than for your warmth.
They're not cold-blooded.
Yeah. So that takes a big part of it, and also through different studies, they've noticed as far as convictions go, I don't think they're sitting down and thinking about
I want to be defined by my shining gray coat.
Yeah, that's not one of the things, but as far as when it comes down to those two things of survivability and reproduction, they have stamped that within their herd. So an example of this, if the way that elephants die over time, sorry for the sad portion of this episode.
Elephants die?
Yes, they do. They do. It is true. You might want to take your kids away from the podcast, and I apologize.
You're now going from G to PG.
So I'll use say fudge sickles.
And good.
That's probably PG, I guess. So regardless, so when an elephant gets older, their teeth, they only have like molars. They have the back, the teeth that are in the back, end up being eroded over time. And so why they die is because they can't really eat any plants anymore. So if you're part of a good herd, you're acting like you're impressed by this.
I'm actually learning a lot.
Oh, good.
I feel like we've discussed this before, but I don't remember this in depth.
Yeah, so
I'm learning a lot about elephant.
Yeah, behavior.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is that the herd, depending upon whether the matriarch that's in charge of that herd is a good one, they'll take the old woman elephant, right? And then they would take her to like the swampy areas of the land, and then they would let her just stay there, and then she would end up eating the swampier plants because she doesn't have any teeth. So
smoothies, essentially, right?
Yeah, basically.
Swamp
I mean,
smoothies.
it makes sense, right? So, but then every day they would go back and visit her until she eventually dies.
Passed away, yeah.
Yeah. So, but when it came to like bad matriarchs of different herds, they weren't good at doing those things and being able to, set an elephant in that place so that way that elephant can be better survive. So, the elephants that are getting older, will be nudged in that way to say, okay, and they'll do this. They'll nudge them in a way that they'll stay at those areas and also stay connected because they're seeing them every day.
So what I've gotten from this is even elephants can't stand their parents after a certain age, and they put them in their own self-care place.
Yeah, but with like mushier stuff. So like,
it's still smoothies and blenders and food processors and swampy things.
Except for it's almost like if it was like in human terms, we just like make them go to, I don't know, pulp, or you just drop off your
some soup.
Is your elding, the getting older of your parents, you just drop them off at, Robex or
I know when we
Zoop.
first talked about this, we also talked about it was a Facebook viral video going around at the time. I don't know if it was actually viral, but it was that the baby elephant slipped from like a little cliff edge of a drinking area into water, and it wasn't able to swim because it was just a baby elephant. What do they call baby elephants? Is there a word for that?
I don't know. Cute?
Well, they're whimsical too, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And the older elephants, two of them, one or two, charged in, and they rescued it, and it was very admirable. It was a very good video.
Emotional.
Probably the dodo or something like that.
Yes. What dodo?
The dodo. They post tons of videos about animals, just
nice.
Usually cute animals, and usually in a bad place to a good place.
Okay. There's a little plug for Dodo. There you go. Anywho's.
Feel free to sponsor us.
So there are. So basically, when it comes to elephants, why I thought the elephants were, first off, approachable when it comes to just a marketing standpoint, but really what it comes down to is it's purposeful because out of all the animals I could think of, because of all the reasons I just said. Number one, they're imposing, which I think as a leader, there's some sort of, at least the leaders that I respect, right, are the ones that I find like, well, because I respect this person, I'm going to step away and allow them to do what they need to do. And you're almost in a way, I don't want to say afraid, but you respect them so much that you're like, okay, I need to listen to what this person has to say. So like if you approached, I don't know, an elephant that's ginormous, you'd be like, okay, I need to respect this animal because it could crush me.
They're a big presence. You want to respect the big presence.
But at the same time, based off what I just said, they are also very much into taking care of the people that are around them, or not the people in this case, the other elephants that are around them. And so it just made a lot of sense based off of those different attributes that they had, especially when we talk about systems theory. They seem like self-differentiated elephants.
Yeah.
So that's the best answer I have when it comes to why the elephant.
I like that. I like that. So the thing that I'm getting from this primarily is less that we're using elephants to market us, because when I think of an elephant, I'm not sure I immediately think of, the matriarchy. But now I realize what we actually are is this OverFunctioning Leadership Podcast is in fact us trying to market elephants.
Yeah,
they
it's
are,
really.
Yeah, it's all about the reputation. They don't have the right reputation out there.
Yeah, they've really got a bad reputation. So it's really not about the podcast
They're
at all.
good for more than just the tusks.
Which
Right.
In Kenya, I must say, other thing, you want to know more, I'm giving you more here. So when they find tusks now in Kenya, at least in Kenya, they'll actually burn them so nobody can steal them anymore for the ivory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, we've all tried to ground tusk, all around medicinal solution. So, and it didn't work. So it's probably for the best.
It's probably for the best. Yeah. So I think that's the best way I can answer this question.
Yeah, and that's about as long as I thought our first Rumble would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Brumble.
Brumble. I was like, Rumble. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I was thinking like, wow, we just had a verbal joust and I just got owned with elephant knowledge, but
Yeah, so if you want to direct any more of your questions about elephants or about leadership or Priscilla here, you could email us at theofpodcast@gmail. Check us out on YouTube. Go to Facebook. You could go to Google Play.
if you can find out our mailing addresses, we love mail, but we're not handing that out.
Yeah, so we thank you for listening to this first Brumble.
Send us your suggestions for what we should Brumble on next time.
Yeah,
and,
which will be the next 5th Tuesday of the month, which I don't know actually when that is.
could
Maybe
be years
February?
from now.
Years. Yeah, because it's like a leap year, right? So whenever you have a leap year, like all the extra
That would
5th
be-
Tuesdays are just cut out.
Yeah, well, how funny would this be if we realized that we could only do one of these every 4 years? Our first and only Brumble.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think are we using the Mayan calendar?
I wasn't. What's this calendar you speak of?
Oh yeah, you use Google Calendar.
No, I use Jervang. Jervang, he's my friend from church. He tells me where to go and when.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
I think he uses a calendar. I don't.
Okay. Well, anyways,
Yeah.
thank you for listening to this Brumble.
This has been a Brumble brought to you by the OverFunctioning Leadership Podcast. I'm Zach.
And I'm Alex.
Bye.
See ya.